Afternoon, folks. Hope you're having a very, very, very good day. As we are on Thursday now, we are ploughing on to the end of the week. Hope you're having a wonderful day and a good time of things. If you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below. The Patreon button is also down below. We are days away now, from our second of our monthly prize draws. This month, we'll be doing a prize draw for £50 worth of stock models from Composite games of whatever kind you wish, and a Dark Angels Deathwing Terminator box set that is all ready for you to be won on Sunday. And most of the day on Sunday, we will be doing, of course, another live stream dedicated to male mental health with a fundraiser towards Movember and other charities of their kind, which do help bros out when they need some help in the old brain department. So, today is not much of a hobby nightmare, because it isn't a hobby nightmare. It's more something that I've discovered recently that I've been told to discover by the loyal people over on Patreon and all people in the comment section. I've been told for ages to give one-page rules a go. And so I did. And I have done for the past 3 or 4 months, basically dedicating myself to one-page rules for a while to make this video. I'm somebody who has played 40k copiously for the past 4 or 5 years. Initially as my job, I worked for Games Workshop, as a few of you will already know. I worked over there in the retail department, so I played a hell of a lot of 7th edition. That was my jam. 7th edition was my huge thing, and then 8th edition came out and blew 7th out of the water, because it really did. It really did pull me into what I like about 40k. It was basically an edition built around what I like, which was amazing for me, especially because that was the one I sold as a Games Workshop manager as well. That was so huge for me. It was brilliant. And then, obviously, the trials and tribulations of 9th edition, and now a 10th edition as well. The wider narrative about 40k these days is that the 9th and 10th edition, 9th slowed the game down to a crawl, bogged it down with rules that were completely unnecessary and were full of gotchas and a real wading through of context to actually get to the meat and potatoes of the rules and what they're supposed to do. And 10th was a readdressing of that balance, or an attempt to readdress that balance. But the thing is, with 8th edition, I had a taste of what a simple 40k game would look like when we had the indexes. There's a very, very, very good reason why I keep going back to that time, and I say that was the best time, at least for me. And that's the thing. What you all have to understand is, this is my own opinion, and this is all based on what I enjoy 40k for. What I enjoy the game for, you might not enjoy as much. I know a bunch of very reasonable people in the comments who I've spoken to in the past, who've agreed with me on several different things and disagreed on others, who have said, look, you know, I really love the in-depth style of 40k. I like the fact that tanks have a different armor value on the back. I like the fact that if I shoot you with heavy weapons, you can't charge me. I like the fact that there's this minutia to the rules that I can break and bend and prise apart to really get to the nitty-gritty of the meta on the inside, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. If that's the way you want to play the game, I am not going to say that one-page rules are for you, because they probably are not. But a lot of people on my channel tend to give back slaps and say, look, I agree with you. I like narrative games. I like cool, casual games. If you're a gamer like me, there's really no excuse to not be into one-page rules. Alright? Now, one thing I want to get into first and foremost is, I'm going to put one-page rules up for you. This is one-page rules. The one thing I'm going to get into first and foremost is the difference in attitude of the two companies. So we have one-page rules over here, and we have Games Workshop. What we've seen with Games Workshop recently, unfortunately, is a gouging of their own player base in terms of money, in terms of greed, in terms of farming out every single piece of their IP and their hobby to make as much money from you as humanly possible. That's all they care about. And I'm sorry, a lot of people may think that, you know, a £1 increase in Warhammer Plus isn't that big of a deal. But it just shows you the cynical nature of Games Workshop and how they look at you and what they think about you as a customer base. And I'm going to say it right now. They don't care. They don't give a shit about you. They see you as a load of wallets. That's what you are, a load of wallets. But there are ways to make money in this hobby and do very well for yourself without having that kind of attitude. And in One Page Rules, I think we found such a company. Because all you need to do to get into One Page Rules is, number 1, download the free rules. Number 2, build your army with those 3 rules. And number 3, start collecting. And these guys know full well that you very likely already have your own army in 40k to play. So they don't tell you to buy their models, they show you their models and say, look, if you want a nice alternative to 40k or any of the other war games that you play, we have these really cool samurai type models in our game that you can go and buy. And if we go and have a look at the models of Grimdark Future and things like that, you can see, I'm just going to go STIs, pre-printed minis, here we go, pre-printed minis. These are minis that they literally print off to order, essentially, right? Most of these are huge models. Like all of the ones that you see up here that are really high priced, they are absolutely massive models. And if once we get into the actual, I'm going to do the, one second, I'm going to do the sci-fi one, there we go. Narrow it down a little bit, there we go. So these are huge models, these are centerpiece models, these are not, shall we say, actual guys you will have on a tabletop as a group, right? But a normal group, a normal squad, £14. A normal squad. Bog standard squad, 14 quid. 14.5 quid. Printed for you, sent directly to your house. Done. Absolutely done. Space Ninjas, that's what you want. There they are. Okay? This is the price point I've been asking Games Workshop to adopt for ages. And this is essentially, as far as I'm concerned, a glimpse into the future of what a hobby could look like in the future. Look, another 5-man squad. 15 quid. Right? Even if we bump this up to 10 men, because sometimes in Games Workshop you get, 10 men in a squad, it's still 30 quid. It's still £8 less. Like a Grey Knight strike team, 1, not as good looking models as these, right? That's number 1. And I love Grey Knights. Number 2, they're £38.50 for 10. This is £30 for 10. Right? We're seeing a definite change in the value of how certain companies look at their model lines. And if you want an affordable way to get into the hobby, this is why I say this to people. If they look, HQ model, 7 quid. HQ model, 7 quid. Right? Dynasty Sage, 7 quid. A lot of people on my videos, they say to me, look, I want to get into the hobby, but I just can't afford it. I can't justify being in this hobby anymore. Yes, you can, because there are viable alternatives out there. But before I jump into it too far, I've made several points that I want to go over in terms of the rules of the game and how they differ to 40k. Now, I'm not going to get into the minutiae of 40k. I'm not going to go pull that apart. I'm assuming you already know what 40k is. You've already played several games of 9th or 10th edition, and you're assuming now that it's not quite for you, right? So maybe I can give you a viable alternative in one-page rules. Let's have a little look, shall we? So, first of all, these are the core rules of Grimdark Future, the one-page rules 40k game. Now, strictly, I always say this, I would love the one-page rules to be one page, but really, they're one sheet of paper, the front and back, right? But these are the rules. This is it, right? We have general principles, okay? Quality tests, and modifiers. Those are the 3 main principles of the game. Quality tests are literally something that you roll against to see if your unit can or can't do something. That's it. You don't have anything else, just a quality test. Modifiers are a change to your quality test, just like armor penetration in 40k. So you can have plus modifiers, where your roll gets easier to do, and you get negative modifiers where it gets harder to do. If it goes above if it goes above 6, you can't do it. Simple, right? Activation, finally, in these games we have alternating activation. That means every player in every game of Grimdark Future is always doing something or planning something. You do not stand there folding your arms for 45 minutes waiting for your opponent to do all of their nice things to you in this game. I move a unit, you move a unit. I move a unit, you move a unit. That's what we do, alternating turns all the way through the game. Units can only do one of 4 things. They can hold, and that means that they can shoot properly. They can advance 6 inches, which means they can shoot after they move. They can rush, which you don't have to roll for. You just say that's what they're doing, and they can't shoot when they're rushing. Or they can charge another 12 inches, which means that they move into melee. Which means Grimdark Future is a lot more about melee than baseline 40k. Shooting's still a thing, don't get me wrong, but being able to move that far and charge really brings the board into focus and really makes sure that melee armies are no longer just cannon fodder for your big guns, right? You need to be, if you're somebody with an army with a lot of firepower, you need to be selecting where that firepower goes to win the game. It's no longer just a blanket, everything's dead, right? 40k, that's very much the case. If you have a very good shooting army against a very good melee army, the shooting army is winning. That's just how it is, right? I've played enough 40k games in 10th edition now to know that this is the case. Shooting's king. Shooting is just a thing now, right? It's always been a thing, really, in 40k. It is a huge thing. But one thing that 40k has never really gotten right is the balance between shooting and combat. It's even a meme. Right, it was on Brother Alpha Booth's Emperor's Guard text-to-speech device a few times, right? When they discussed the Tau and how dishonourable they are because they don't fight in melee, which is silly, right? We're in the 41st millennium. Why would you fight in melee? Well, there's several good reasons in the lore why you would fight in melee in Warhammer 40,000, but on the rules, they've had a really, really, really hard time making sure that is put onto the tabletop, that there are reasons for being in melee. If you have a very good shooting army in 40k, 9 times out of 10, it will blast a melee army out of the sky, or as it's coming down at a deep strike, or whatever it's trying to do to get into range of their swords, right? I know, because I play melee armies. I love melee. I just always love churning things up in combat. I think shooting, it bores me. Shooting bores me. I'm just not that big of a fan of it. I love charging into melee. That's what I do. I like loyalists and I like charging into melee. So Grey Knights were for me. If I was a traitor, I'd be more World Eaters, right? That's my kind of army. I love it. So rushing and charging is essentially what this game is all about for me. It makes sure that if you're facing a very shooty army, they have to pick and choose their targets. They have to take down the biggest, nastiest shit in your list before you get to them. And even if they do that, there'll still be 1 or 2 things that get through that make the game really close. Really close. Don't get me wrong, shooting armies in Grimdark Future still win 6 out of 10 games. I've played a lot of games now, dozens of games of Grimdark Future, multiple dozens, right? Because I can do, because I no longer feel tired after a game, because each game takes 60 minutes. It doesn't take 90 minutes in my estimation. A 1,000 point game takes about 60 minutes. So, I still lose 40%. I still lose 60% of my games, around about that, because I'm a melee army. You know, I charge in, and there are lots of. I'm in a sci-fi setting, right? But I live with that. That's fine. I'm not losing 80-90% of my games because I'm in a melee army. Okay. Now, I'm sure if you're a meta person, you're a tournament person, you're scoffing, saying, well, I could win if I've got melee army. Yeah, I'm not talking about tournament lists, my friend. I'm talking about nice, fluffy, narrative lists. If you're taking a list like that with a melee army, 9 times out of 10, you're getting your shit pushed in. That just is what it is, okay? Terrain features as well, very simple. Every single rule you see on here is incredibly simple, easy to read. You can read this in 30 minutes and play a game, and several games in, you're a veteran. Like, you know what to do with the core rules. You know what the core rules are. You have that solid foundation on which to build the rest of your enjoyment of the game. And that's how these rules are put into practice, right? So these are the core rules. Page 1 is the core rules of the game. Page 2 is special rules. These are the special rules, and that's it. That's it. These are your special rules. You have aircraft, ambush, AP, you know, which works how it does in normal 40k. Blast, which ignores cover and gets multiples hits by the X in its weapon stat, right? All of these are really, really, really cool. My favourite is actually Hero, which you'll see in the bottom left. Hero, this unit may be deployed as one of as one friendly unit, as part of one friendly unit. So you may attach your hero onto a friendly unit. Yes, Grimdark Future were doing this ages before 40k ever had the fucking idea to do it again, right? Which may use its quality value for morale tests, which means your guy's leading the squad, so he's making sure they don't run away from battle. When taking hits, you must use the unit's defense value until all non-hero models are killed. Okay? So, you can't really mothball your guy. You can attach him to a unit, but there is a drawback to that. But I just love the hero rule. It just makes sure that, you know, he stays on the battlefield. And there are even special rules for special rules in Grimdark Future that people have put on the tabletop where they say only a hero can damage another hero. In 40k, that would be silly, or at least it would be for the long version of the game, because the games are so big and so vast. Grimdark Future games are not that big. Okay, heroes will fight heroes 9 times out of 10 because they're the best thing for killing other heroes, which is incredible. I love it, right? These are the special rules. That's it. That's all you need to do. A sniper, look, sniper shoots at a quality of 2+, which basically means you're hitting on a 2+, right? And may pick one model in a unit as its target, which is resolved as if it's a unit of 1. So you can pick out any target, even if a hero is not mothballed in a unit. You can pick out that hero with a sniper and drill him between the eyes. Nice, simple, right? Poison rules. Unmodified results of a 6 to hit are multiplied by 3. Incredible stuff. Just nice and simple core rules. Reading this immediately means you understand and can start taking advantage of all of this. Dead easy. Really easy. And I'm somebody, look, I'm going to be honest with you guys, right? I'm going to take a quote from the deranged Alex Jones here. I'm kind of retarded, right? When it comes to rules, and things like this, I'm kind of retarded. Like, I'm not somebody who can pick up these rules and run with them most of the time. I'm a bad wargamer when it comes to things like 40k. I'm not very good. I'm just not, right? I completely admit that. I forget rules. I get rules wrong. I regularly screw myself out of wins because I just haven't remembered that a unit can do a certain thing. And it's incredibly frustrating. It's the main part of the hobby that makes me not want to play. That makes me not want to do it anymore. I can take losing, no problem. But losing because of a mistake you made, and it's just you forgot something, it feels so bad. It feels so much worse than an honest game lost honestly. It feels so much worse. I feel worse when I forget things than I do if the opponent cheats and bends the rules. Honestly, it's horrible. Walking away, you've all had that feeling when you walk away from the tabletop thinking, oh well, I lost, but you know, at least it was a fair game, it was a good game. And then you open up your codex and you go, oh my god, I forgot I had this rule, my god, I should have won that game. And it makes you just feel like a shit. And it ruins your night. I'm being honest, it ruins your night. You're just like, no, I can't believe I did that. Right? I hate that feeling. Grimdark Future banishes that feeling. I know every single game I play, I've won or I've lost by my own tactical decisions. And there are lots of tactics to make in this game. Because all of these, let's show you how they work in your codex. Bonk! Here is your codex. It is free online, as all rules should be. It is free online. And these are the Knight Brothers. These are the Grey Knights of the Grimdark Future setting game. So they have Knight Brothers rules. So, if you want a bit more bang for your buck in terms of your special rules, most armies can take advantage of these, which are the core special rules. But the army that you have will take advantage of some of these, verbatim, yes, but they will also have their own rules. Let's have a little look at the Grey Knight rules, shall we? Let's look at Aegis first. It's the big one, okay? Aegis. Any unit with this rule counts as having regeneration on rolls of 4+ against spell attacks, and on rolls of 6+ against non-spell attacks. Right, let's have a little look at what regeneration is. Regeneration. When taking a wound, roll on 1 die. On a 5+, it is ignored. That's cool. That's cool. That means every single unit in this army, on a roll of 5+, I ignore your shit. I don't care whether you can hit me with an AP 5 weapon that completely negates my 3+ quality save, my 3+ defense save, sorry. And I can just go, no, I'm going to roll, 5+, I ignore that. Because I'm a fucking Grey Knight. And I'm hard as nails. That's awesome, dude. That is really, really cool. It just means I'm regenerating my wounds. I'm pushing my body. And Necrons have an even better version of this. As they should do. But they have an even better version of this. It's a beautifully balanced game, right? But let's have a look at our Knight Champion, yeah? Let's click on him. Here's the Knight Champion. So here is the bog standard, the warlord of most Grey Knight armies in Grimdark Future. We have a quality value of 3+ and a defense value of 3+. That means anything that my Knight Champion tries to do, he's rolling on a 3+. Anything my Knight Champion is defending against, he's rolling on a 3+. That's it. We have modifiers, of course, but in general, that's it. That's the rule. There's no, you roll this to hit, or you roll that to save, or you roll this. No. You have a quality for all of your things that your unit is trying to do. Whether it's climbing up a wall, whether it's falling back, whether it's taking a morale test, whether it's trying to hit in combat, it's all off the same quality roll. All of it. If you're taking a hit from a melee weapon or a psychic power or whatever, it's always a 3+ defensive roll. Dead easy, right? Cool. He can take one of these spells, right? He's a psychic with a level of 1, right? Which means he may cast one spell during his activation at any point before attacking. Pick a spell and a target in the line of sight of the spell and roll a d6 plus X. If the result is equal or higher than the number in the brackets, you may resolve the effects. There you go. Enemy psychics within 18 inches on the line of sight of the caster may roll a d6 plus X at the same time, and if the result is higher, the spell is blocked. Psychics may only either try to cast or try to block one spell each round. Nice. Easy. Easy stuff. A psychic means I get +1 to, so I roll and I get +1, right? So if I want to say I want to do ward, target enemy units within 12 inches and they get a -1 to hit the next time they fight in melee. I target your orc boys and I roll a 3, right? I'm like, shit. Oh no, I get a +1 for my psychic test because I've got a psychic 1, right? I get a 4+, that's it, I've done it. You now get a -1 to hit the next time you fight in melee. Done. Nice and simple. His close combat weapon has a range of melee, so it's range of, combat. It gets 1 attack, no AP, and no special rules at all, right? He gets a storm rifle and a relic blade. A relic blade gives him 4 attacks with 1 AP. Really good stuff. A storm rifle is also good. Basically a storm bolter. Attack 3 and AP 1. So generally he's an all-round pretty good guy to have in front of your army, right? But then he has other rules like Combat Master. When in melee, roll 1 die and apply 1 bonus to models with this rule. 1 to 3, attacks get rending, and 4 to 6, attacks get plus AP 1. Right? So there are really more in-depth rules ferreted away. And this is what I love about it. It's ferreted away. The depth is here. If you're a meta chaser, if you're a guy who loves tournaments, dude, you can still get that from one-page rules. You can. It's still here. You have things like Combat Master, which you would forget about. I've forgotten about it more than once, but it's never a rule that really swings the game. It's more of just a little advantage that he has, right? Never really makes that much of a difference, but it's still there. And my favourite of the rules is tough. Now, here's the thing. I was confused when I started playing, because I thought, I only get... Every model has 1 wound, and it dies? What's that all about? Well, not technically. Tough means this model must take X wounds before being killed. If a model with tough joins a unit without it, then it is removed last when the unit takes wounds. So now you're seeing the real power of mothballing one of your heroes within a bodyguard unit. Note that you must continue to put wounds on the tough model with most wounds in the unit until it is killed. On the model, yeah. So So basically, it means you can't just like spread wounds around the unit to keep them from going on the champion, right? You can't do that. It's got to be, you know, one guy takes wounds until he dies, and the next one takes wounds until he dies, all the way through till you get to the hero. And he must take 3 wounds before he dies. So you can mothball him in a paladin squad. And again, there's nothing saying a normal Space Marine can't join a paladin squad. There's nothing saying that. You can have this guy in power armor, and he's got a bodyguard group of Terminators. Why not? Why not? If I wanted a bodyguard, I'd want them to be fucking Terminators, regardless of if I've got Artificer armor on or not. It just makes sense. They've broken this down to be a lot more of a, shall we say, elegant, simple, and logical set of rules than 40k. There's nothing in one-page rules that says normal Space Marines can't get in a Primaris tank, or Primaris Marines can't get in a Land Raider. That's bollocks, and it's not in one-page rules. Okay? Cool. Awesome. So you can see here, this is what simplified, not simple, at least for me, is supposed to mean. The games, though, are much smaller than Warhammer 40,000. Because if we look down here, a normal game of, if you see here, where are we? It should say around here, sometimes what the normal, here we go, the armies. The players put together 2 armies of equal points before the game begins. We recommend 750 points for your first match. Let's say we double that for a normal match, 1,500 points, right? So 1,500 points, what would we normally have? Well, you could have a Knight Champion in there, that's fine. A Knight Master Brother, that's also fine. We're now looking at, let's get the old calculator up, shall we? 1 second. Calculator. So, you should be able to see this. Can you see this? You can't, it doesn't matter. 150 for our main guy. We have 70 points for our main champion there. We have, let's say, core units. 2 units of 335. So 335 plus 335. Those are your normal Grey Knights. We're at 890 points now. Then we have our Terminators, 350. We're now at 1,240, so we're nearly there. We're nearly finished. And let's say we can get a vehicle in here. Let's say we get let's get a Rhino. Let's get a Rhino. 260 plus 260. Right, we're now at 1,500 points, bang on the money. So what we have here is 2 HQs, one elite HQ, 1 lieutenant HQ, basically. We have 2 core units of Grey Knights of 5 models each. We have 1 3-man unit of Paladins, and we have 1 Rhino. 1,500 points. That game is going to take you 60 to 90 minutes, and I would say after your first 2 games, that game's taking you about 60 minutes. These games go quick, and I mean they are tactical, they are fast-paced, and they are back and forth. And you can't believe that the game's over. When it's over, you're like, oh my god, that was a bloodbath. That was amazing, right? Now, here's another thing that you might not like if you like things like Dread Knights. A Dread Knight, as you can see there, is 750 points. That means if you're playing the game as they want you to, as in the starter game, if you take a Dread Knight, you're literally, that's your army. But, let's have a little look at the absolute nightmare that the Nemesis Dread Knight is in this game. He has Aegis, of course, which means he can regenerate. He has Ambush. This model may be kept in reserve instead of deploying. At the start of any round after the first, you may place the model anywhere over 9 inches away from enemy units. If both players have Ambush, they roll off to see who deploys first, and then alternate in placing them. So, he has Deep Strike for free, essentially. Fear. This model always counts as having dealt plus D3 wounds when checking who won melee. So basically, he's almost always going to win melee. Because he's always going to be doing wounds to you, and he's going to get plus 3 wounds to his melee score. That's when you decide who's going to take a morale test, right? In a melee. Who did the most wounds. Fearless, he gets plus 1 to morale tests. That's really good. Psychic, we've been over that one as well. Tough, 18. 1, 8, 18. This guy's not dying. He has a defense value of 2+. He has Aegis as well. So on a 5+, on a 4+ against spells, he's just shrugging you off. On a 6+, he's just shrugging you off completely. And that does get better as well. There are other rules with the Nemesis Dread and Nemesis Walker where that does get a little bit better with the army rules. He has absolutely amazing weapons as well. He has his 2 Night Fists, he has Stomp, he has heavy psychic cannons, and you can give him more stuff as well, like a Great Knight Sword, which has 6 attacks, an AP run, and it's rending, which means unmodified results of a 6 to hit count as having AP 4 and ignore the regeneration rule. That is a big, big one. This guy is an absolute demon killer, he is a monster killer, and he's a character killer. Because all of those things have really good regeneration rules, and he, with a great sword, he completely ignores them. He goes, no, you're not doing that anymore. I'm going to slice you in half. That's what you're getting. His other one, his Demon Hammer, is 2 attacks, AP 2, which is big. That is huge. AP 2 is pretty huge. And Deadly, which means assign each wound to 1 model and multiply it by X. So, if he does 1 wound, he's doing 3 wounds to you, okay? Note that these wounds don't carry over to other models if the target is killed. So it's a big old fuck you, bang, there's my Demon Hammer right onto your head. You are now a piece of mulch. That's what that is. I love how thematic the rules are. Taking different weapons for different units actually feels like they play differently. Whereas in the actual Warhammer 40k, if I take a Nemesis Dread Knight and I give him a sword or a Demon Hammer, the only thing that really changes is how much damage he's doing and what AP it is. It's the special rule that is attached to the weapon that really gives it the oomph of, oh my god, this feels so much different to actually using another weapon. And by the way, your attacks in 40k don't change that much, but from the Demon Hammer to the Great Sword, whereas in this, you get 2 attacks with the Demon Hammer and 6 attacks with the Great Sword. That's huge. That's a huge difference in playstyle right there, right? So, this is the reason why the big boys in OPR, in one-page rules, really feel like big boys. And this is one of the small big boys. This is a Night Walker. This is the Nemesis Dread Knight. This is a small unit in terms of, you know, the big guys, you know, the Imperial Knights, Greater Demons, right? These guys are just meant to stand up to things like that. They're not meant to just kill it in several hits. They're meant to slow those things down and take loads of damage off of them before everybody sweeps them up. 750 points is the smallest Titan you're going to get, and that's what the game classes them as. Titans. Greater Demons, Titans. You know, Monoliths, Titans. Imperial Knights, Titans. There are no army organization charts in OPR. You literally select the models you want to use, and you make sure it's underneath the limit of points that you've done with your opponent, and you play those rules. The one thing that has really, really impressed me about OPR and playing it over the last several months has been you don't need army organization charts in OPR. You literally say, hey, we're doing a 1500 point game, and whatever units my opponent brings, that game's relatively balanced. I've had people take just Imperial Knights against me. I've had other Grey Knight players take just Walkers against me. They've taken 2 Titans, and I've taken a full army, and I've won. Right? I've literally won. I've been able to cap objectives. I've been able to run around him on the tabletop, because let's not forget as well, everybody moves the same amount, unless it says otherwise. So, you advance 6 inches, you rush 12 inches, you charge 12 inches. Every game of OPR is a fight to the death. And it's close. It's very, very close. I love this game. And this is what I've always dreamt 40k was going to be. My ideal version of 40k looks a lot like this. Very simple. And this is what we mean by simplified, not simple. 10th edition is not simplified. 10th edition is another version of 9th edition with a few streamlined elements. That's what it is. If you want simplified, not simple, that's Grimdark Future, dude. That's Grimdark Future. It's simplified, but there is a core depth here in these rules where you can go into them and you can pick the minutiae apart if you want to and make something really meta and powerful if you want to. And even if you do that, it's not a guaranteed win. It's not a gotcha. Because the other person could just play better than you. I've played against people who are better at Grimdark Future than me, and they win. Even if I have better armies, they win. Because they pick apart my army. They use actual battlefield tactics to break me apart. To isolate me and pick me apart piecemeal. If you want to feel like a good general, go and play Grimdark Future, I implore you. Alright? This is not sponsored by OPR. I just love this game so much. And it has saved my hobby. It has literally saved my hobby. Sounds cheesy, I know, but it has. Completely saved it. So what do you think? Am I being too much of a guy who is, you know, rose-tinted glasses when it comes to Grimdark Future? Have you had any other experiences of OPR? Do you think that they're not a very good company? Do you think they're an amazing company? Up to you. Let me know in the comment section down below. I love you all a long time. I will speak to you tomorrow for some more Hobby Nightmares. That's been my rant for the day. I love you all. See you later. Bye now.